So, okay. How you guys doing? Hope everybody's enjoying their day today. Sabbath day for me, myself. I thank the Most High for waking us up, all that have woken up, and also, hold on 1 second, and also for the ones who who have lost their loved ones. I just my condolences go out to you, and God, the Most High have a plan, so we have to lean on Him for our strength. So before I get started, I just want to give all praises to Him, to the Most High, and His only begotten Son to die on the cross for us. So, so now, being that this is going to be about the abomination of desolation. The title is Abomination of Desolation. Abomination of Desolation, and more than likely would be part 1. So with that, let's begin. As far as the definition of abomination. Definition of abomination, it says a thing that causes disgust or hatred. A thing that causes disgust or hatred. So now we're looking at it from the Most High perspective. What caused that? What was that abomination to Him? Just keep these questions in your mind. What caused that abomination? What was abominable to Him? Things like that. And so now we went over that. We went over the abomination. Now, desolate. Since it's abomination of desolation, what does desolate mean? Desolate, as an adjective, mean of a place, deserted, of people, and in a state of bleak and dismal emptiness. Okay, so that's what desolate. That's the definition of desolate. You just look it up on Google. And so we have abomination, which causes disgust or hatred, and desolate, of a place deserted of people and in a state of bleak and dismal emptiness. Okay, so now here's the thing: a lot of people, I happen to, I didn't. At first, when I was growing up, I didn't really truly believe in the Bible. I never really heard of abomination of desolation until like later on in my life, when I really start, kind of tuning in a little bit. Just playing a role, not saying that you don't believe, but you start believing that it haven't happened yet. And so I had that all throughout, even when I really didn't truly read. Now coming into reading and coming into the truth probably about 4 or 5 years ago, I still thought, I was looking at it and I was like, man, I'm waiting for them to build a temple, things like that. Waiting for the temple to be built, the third time. And, on the reading, you start reading and, the Most High start asking for knowledge, wisdom, understanding. And like I said, we can be wrong now. That's what we're trying to find the truth. So in our search, sometimes you stumble, but it depends on what you want, how you come about it, as far as what you're going to do, as far as if you're wrong. And like I said, this is still a walk that I'm walking. It's a journey. So, I'm just going to leave that to the Most High. So anyway, so yeah. So now the way I'm seeing it, it could be something else. Has it already happened? And this is something that we don't have in our history books too much. Like, as far as like, we don't really, as a kid or, teenager, I don't remember going into that 70 AD situation. But anyway, that's that. Let's go into Luke. Let's start at Luke chapter 21. Let's see let's read the word of God and let's see what this has to say about it. Luke chapter 21. And we're going to start at verse 20 and read it to verse 24. Okay, so this is the Messiah speaking, or he's talking to the disciples. Okay, so it says, and when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Verse 21, then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. Verse 20, let's talk about verse 21. So I mean, he says, let them which are in Judea flee. So what my mind state before, when I thought this hadn't happened yet, I'm thinking like Judea, flee from Judea, meaning, being that I'm in America and other people that are scattered everywhere else in other countries. I'm thinking that all of us have to flee, as mentally, like just out of Judea, mentally, out of our mind, But I have to take account of what it's saying. So let them which are in Judea flee up to the mountains, and also at the end, let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. So those country people that are in the other countries, why would they enter in Jerusalem? Is it because of the Sabbath? I mean, a certain high Sabbath? Is it because of a certain holy day? You see what I'm saying? Like Passover? So you have other people going into the country of the city of Jerusalem. So that was a warning. Okay, verse 22. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. Verse 23. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. Okay, now verse 23. Distress in the land. Now he's specifically talking about a land, a place. And remember, we saw it desolate. Remember, the definition of desolate is what? Of a place deserted, of people, and in a state of bleak and dismal emptiness. Okay, so now that's 23. Okay, it says in 24, I read 23 again, but woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days, for there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. Okay, verse 24, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Okay, so it's saying that they shall fall by the edge of the sword. Okay, so when you look into history, there are certain things that happen with the sword. There are some that fell by fire, and then there were some that went into captivity. Okay, so, and it says to be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. That's the key right there, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Okay, so you have to know who's in the land and when it happened and when it started. Okay, so now let's go to Mark chapter 13. Let's see what Mark has to say about this. Mark chapter 13, and we're going to read verse 14 through 17. Verse 14 through 17, it says, on verse 14, it says, and this is in red again, all in red. So this is the same scenario from Mark's point of view. But when ye shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel, the prophet, standing where it ought not, let him that readeth understand. Then let them that be in Judea flee to the mountains. So you have to be able to see this. The people in that land have to be able to see this. They have to see what the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet. So Daniel the prophet is the key to this, okay, to this scenario of you understanding. Now it says, let him that readeth understand it, then let them that be in Judea flee to the mountains. So here it is again. They had to flee to the mountains. Is that physically speaking, like, or is it like just saying in your mind, flee? You know? And right now we're seeing some cases where it looks like it's talking about a specific place. Okay, let's keep reading. 15. And let him that is in the house talk, not go down into the house, neither enter in therein, excuse me. So neither enter therein to take anything out of his house. Verse 16, and let him that is in the field not turn back again for to take up his garment. Verse 17, but woe to them that are with child and to them that give suck in those days. So Mark saying the same thing because he heard the Messiah speak that Luke said. Okay, so now let's go to Matthew. Let's see what Matthew had to say about it. Remember the witnesses. We're trying to see two or more witnesses. If they're giving the same account, then it has to be true. So Matthew, and Matthew is really, I mean, I'm just speaking for myself. I believe it. It seems like it is the most popular one to go to when when people are trying to read what is coming, what they feel like is to come. Matthew chapter 24, verses 15 through 19. And verse 15 says, when ye therefore shall see the abomination spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. Whoso readeth, let him understand. Verse 16, then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. 18, neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. So that seems real. That seems it's getting more specific. That seems more specific of what is happening. It don't seem like something that's figuratively speaking. 19, and woe unto them that are with child, to them that give suck in those days. Same thing. 3 witnesses. So give suck meaning the ones who are pregnant or have just had a baby or infant, So and now it's hard to travel and move with that infant there. You see what I'm saying? So now that's verse 19 in Matthew 24. So now, what are the key things that we heard? We heard about Daniel the prophet, spoken of by Daniel the prophet. Okay, so now let's go to Daniel chapter 9. I have verse 26, but let's read 25. Let's start at 25. Daniel chapter 9, and starting at verse 25, and we'll read this all the way to the end, which is verse 27. It says, now this is spoken up by Daniel the prophet, okay? Know therefore and understand, see that, look how he began that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to rebuild Jerusalem, unto the Messiah, the prince shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. The street shall be built again, and the wall, even in troublous times. Okay, focus on that, people. That's one I have to focus on for a little while. So let me step back. He said, know therefore and understand. So he wants you to know this and then understand it, okay? Now, what else was going on? That from the going forth to of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem. This is why most people, like I said, when I was getting into the word, before I start really reading, you will hear a lot of people online and certain pastors, they will actually say that this is talking about the future where we're at. No, it is not. It's not. Remember, during the time before the second building of Jerusalem, who came to build Jerusalem as far as the temple? Who helped them? Cyrus. That's the second building. No, the second building. Remember, the first was what? Solomon. So now that have Daniel's speaking, Daniel's talking about this. Daniel's talking about this coming up. You see what I'm saying? So now reading into it, and it says, restore and to build Jerusalem. We're in 25 in the middle. Unto the Messiah, look, unto the Messiah, the prince shall be 7 weeks, and 62 weeks. 60. The street shall be built again, and the wall, even in troublous times. They were going through troublous times during that time. Okay, before the 70 AD even happened. So before 70 AD even happened, they were going through troublous times. Because remember, if they had needed Cyrus, that means they were coming out of what? That captivity, their own captivity. Okay. Verse 26, and after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. And the end thereof shall be with a flood, and unto the end of the war, desolations are determined. So now, highlight verse 26, because we're talking about the abomination of desolation. Look, at the beginning it said 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off. Cut off means to what? Die. Daniel's letting you know that Messiah is going to die. But some would say, why did he die if he was the Messiah? Because he had to end something. And he also had to make a new covenant. Okay, we're going to read Daniel's. That's what he said. Therefore, in 25, know, therefore, and understand. So now it says in the middle of 26, I'm going slow with this because this is really key. Because it said we have to know. If you know what Daniel was saying, you will understand. You see that? So now it says, and the people in the middle of 26, and the people of the prince. Who is that? The people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. Rome and all the allies that was there. The people of the prince. People think it's talking about the people of the prince. They doing the destroying. They doing the abomination of desolation is happening because of them. Listen to it again. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood. Is that water? No, that's not water. Flood meaning what? Overall, just consummation of just bringing all sorts of just overwhelming forces flowing over the cup. Just all sorts of things. You can't stop it. And unto the end of the war, listen, desolations are determined. Desolations are determined. Okay, so now 27. Look at they are going real slow on purpose. And he shall confirm. Who is he? And he shall, I'll read the whole thing. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. And for the overspreading of abominations, he shall make it desolate, even unto the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. What does desolate mean? Of a place deserted are people of people, and in a state of bleak and dismal emptiness. So now at the end of that, read the end of that sentence again, or towards the end after the comma, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate, the empty, the people, the deserted people, the people that's going to be deserted. And that's been doing the abominations, okay? So now we have that. Now we as Daniel spoke. So let's go to Leviticus. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 26. Leviticus chapter 26, verse 14 and 15. Then we're going to do we're going to skip. So Leviticus chapter 26, verse 14, it states, it says, but if ye will not hearken unto me and will not do all these commandments. Verse 15, and if ye shall despise my statutes, or if your soul abhor my judgments, so that ye will not do all my commandments, but that ye break my covenant. So we see that covenant commandments entered, it kind of correlates with what? Covenant. Look at 15 again, or in the middle, or if your soul abhor my judgments, so that ye will not do all my commandments, but that ye break my covenant. That's covenant is showing that it's part of the commandments and statutes. So that's why people would say he had a new covenant. You know, let's skip down to 27 and reading it to 34. 27 says, and if ye will not for all this hearken unto me, but walk contrary unto me, then I will walk contrary unto you, also in what? In fury. And I will chastise you 7 times for your sins. 7 times for your sins. 29, and ye shall eat the flesh of your sons. Highlight that. And the flesh of your daughters shall ye eat. So he's saying you're gonna eat the flesh of your sons and the flesh of your daughters. Why did he ask that? That's our question. Let's keep reading. 30, and I will destroy your high places and cut down your images and cast your carcasses upon the carcasses of your idols. And my soul shall abhor you. 31, and I will make your cities waste and bring your sanctuaries unto desolation. And I will not smell the savor of your sweet odors. So what did verse 31 say? Don't let that fly by you. And I will make your cities waste and bring your sanctuaries unto desolation. Who's going to make that happen? The Most High is saying this. Okay, the Most High is saying that. And I will not smell, the savor of your sweet odors. 32, and listen to this. I will bring the land into desolation, and your enemies which dwell therein shall be astonished at it. People, these are big nuggets come popping out of it. Verse 32 again. I will bring the land into what? Into what? Desolation. He's going to bring the land into desolation. What does desolate mean? Of a place deserted of people and in a state of bleak and dismal emptiness. Is it his people? Is it the chosen, the people that he chose? Okay. 33, and I will scatter you among the heathen and will draw out a sword after you, and your land shall be desolate, and your cities waste. He keeps repeating that. He keeps saying that over and over and over. 34, then shall the land enjoy her Sabbaths. So, okay, let me keep reading. As long as it alive desolate, and ye be in your enemy's land, even then shall the land rest and enjoy her Sabbaths. Okay, so what did that say at the beginning? Then shall the land enjoy her Sabbaths. So that's what it's about. As long as it lieth desolate, and ye be in your enemy's land. So during that time, they what? They took them. Most of the people were scattered. Israelites have been scattered even before this. But now, hey, at that time, he's taking them all. You're not going to be a part of the land anymore. You see what I'm saying? So that, Isaiah chapter 1. Let's read that. Let's read Isaiah chapter 1. Let's see what he's talking about when he mentions that. About the, out of the land, enjoy the Sabbaths and things like that. What were they doing? Abominable. Because if we have abomination of desolation, then those two key words are big. What was done to be an abomination to God, and who's going to be the one being desolate, and in what land? Where is this desolation going to happen? So Isaiah chapter 1, verse 4 through 14. It says, sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters. They have forsaken the Lord. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger. They are gone away backward. 5, why should ye be stricken anymore? Ye will revolt more and more. The whole head is sick and the whole heart faint. Verse 6, from the sole of the foot even unto the head, there is no soundness in it, but wounds and bruises and putrefying sores. They have not been closed, neither bound up, neither mollified with ointment. Verse 7, your country is desolate. Your cities are burned with fire. Your land strangers devour it in your presence. And it is desolate, as overthrown by strangers. Verse 8, and the daughter of Zion is left as cottage in a vineyard, as a lodge in a garden of cucumbers, as a besieged city. That's the key. As a besieged city. See that? He throws hints. Verse 9, except the Lord of hosts had left unto us a very small remnant, we should have been as Sodom, and we should have been like unto Gomorrah. So there's a comparison. What is that comparison? So usually if he didn't leave a remnant, you would have been like Sodom and like Gomorrah. What happened to them? Utter destruction. That land is not inhabitable. See that? But he left that remnant. Okay, so now that's why in verse 9 it says, except the Lord of hosts had left unto us a very small remnant. Okay, that's what I wanted you to focus on. Okay, verse 10, hear the word of the Lord, ye rulers of Sodom. Give ear unto the law of our God, ye people of Gomorrah. Okay, so now what is that called? There's parable, or you're kind of making an analogy to the people. You're acting like them, so I'm gonna call you out like them. I'm gonna make a reference that hear the word of the Lord, ye rulers of Sodom. He's telling them, you the rulers of Sodom now. So he's kind of like, and what? Ye people of Gomorrah. Okay, so verse 11, to what purpose is the multitude of your sacrifices unto me, saith the Lord? I am full of burnt offerings of rams and the fat of fed beasts, and I delight not in the blood of bullocks, or of lambs, or of he goats. I wonder why he didn't want that. The lambs and stuff like that. Is it because that he's going to be the lamb for us? And they're supposed to be just following the commandments and returning and repenting from their wickedness. Okay. Verse 12, when ye come to appear before me, who have required this at your hand to tread my courts? Verse 13, bring no more vain oblations. Incense is an abomination unto me. The new moons and Sabbaths, the calling of assemblies, I cannot away with them. I cannot away with. It is iniquity, even the solemn meeting. So I cannot away with me. It kind of is like we are saying I can't stand them. That's what I'm taking into it. Verse 14, your new moons and your appointed feasts, my soul hateth. They are a trouble unto me. I am weary to bear them. See that? So now that happens when there's wickedness and you're being abominable and there's no type of remorse or repenting, and you continue to do the same thing. This is what the Most High sounds like. You see what I'm saying? There has to be some type of repentance. And that's why the disciples preached that. You see what I'm saying? So now that was Isaiah chapter 1. Let's go to Isaiah 5. Isaiah chapter 5. And this is why it's going to be a part 1. I'm going to try to read the whole thing, okay? It says, now will I sing to my well-beloved a song of my beloved touching his vineyard. My well-beloved hath a vineyard in a very fruitful hill. And he fenced it and gathered out the stones thereof and planted it with the choicest vine and built a tower in the midst of it and also made a winepress therein. And he looked that it should bring forth grapes, and it brought forth wild grapes. Remember that. Verse 3, and now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem and men of Judah, judge, I pray you, betwixt me and my vineyard. He's saying, judge between me and my vineyard. Verse 4, what could have been done more to my vineyard that I have not done in it? Wherefore, when I looked that it should bring forth grapes, brought it forth wild grapes. So now he's saying, what more could have done to this vineyard? Who? Think about this, people. Who is this speaking? What more could I have done? And who is the vineyard? Let's keep reading. And now, this is big. Highlight this. And now go to. I will tell you what I will do to my vineyard. I will take away the hedge thereof, and it shall be eaten up, and break down the wall thereof. And listen to this, and it shall be trodden down. Verse 6, and I will lay waste. I will lay waste, okay? I will lay waste. It shall not be pruned nor digged, but there shall come up briars and thorns. I will also command the clouds that they rain no rain upon it. 7, for the vineyard of the Lord, listen to this, highlight, people. For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel. And the men of Judah is his pleasant plant. These are equal. He's telling you what it means, okay? He's giving you the reference of what he's using in the place of the people. And he looked for judgment, but behold, oppression, for righteousness, but behold, a cry. So he looked for them to do judgment, but what did he say for that? But came oppression. He was looking for the judgment out of the people, but it was all they were doing was oppressing. And then what did it say? For righteousness. But what? Behold, a cry. Cry means like to shout, just shouting out. There was no righteousness. You see what I'm saying? So now, verse 8, woe unto them that join house to house, that lay field to field, till there be no place, that they may be placed alone in the midst of the earth. Verse 9, in mine ears, saith the Lord of hosts, of a truth many houses shall be desolate, even great and fair, without inhabitant. Verse 10, yea, 10 acres of vineyard shall yield one bath, and the seed of an homer shall yield an ephah. Verse 11, woe unto them that rise up early in the morning, that they may follow strong drink. Remember that continue until night to wine inflame them. What is strong drink spiritually? Wrong doctrine that is not from God, strange doctrine. That's why they're inflamed. They were drunk off of it. Verse 12, and the harp and the viol, the tabret and pipe and wine, listen to all these things, are in their feasts, but they regard not the work of the Lord, neither consider the operation of his hands. Is that why he didn't like their feasts? Because they're not regarding him. They're regarding what? The operations of it, the fun activities about it. God is not in the midst of it anymore. Think about that, people. Verse 13, therefore my people are gone into captivity, because they have no knowledge, and their honorable men are famished, and their multitude dried up with thirst. Verse 14, therefore hell have enlarged herself and opened her mouth without measure, and their glory and their multitude and their pomp, and he that rejoiceth shall descend into it. Now, I ask you this question. What is hell right here? What happens when somebody go to war and battle and they get killed by the sword? What do they do to them? Eventually, you're going down into the earth. Listen to that again. Therefore, hell have enlarged herself. Hell's a state of condition too. The things that's going to be happening is going to be like hell. That's why it have enlarged itself only, because now they have what? There it says 13, therefore my people have gone into captivity, because they have no knowledge. That's why hell is going to enlarge itself on the people. That he's given them a prophecy, and everybody and you expect people to turn, but what happens? Nobody turns. Nobody even thinks about it. You have some prophets telling them, but they don't. What did he say about the prophets? They killed my prophets. Okay, so now verse 15, and the mean man, and the mean man shall be brought down, and the mighty man shall be humbled. This is still talking about Israel. And the eyes of the lofty shall be humbled. Verse 16, but the Lord of hosts shall be exalted in judgment, and God that is holy shall be sanctified in righteousness. Why? Because he was looking for righteousness, but he found cry. All he heard was cry. He used that in verse 7. So now he's saying, now it's going to be sanctified in righteousness. Verse 17, then shall the lambs feed after their manner, and the waste places of the fat ones shall strangers eat. Now we know why people are in the land that wasn't the people, because he said it. Now they're going to eat what you had. How did they become fat? Why did he call them fat ones? And the waste places of the fat ones shall strangers eat. That means your riches, your abundance of things. They're coming fat off of what you have now. So guess what? Doing after that, the desolation, all things were taken. That's one thing I want you to have in mind. That's why I'm pausing here. Read 70 AD. You're going to see after that, they brought things back. Riches were gained. Riches were taken back from that land to the people who conquered it. Okay, so now verse 18: woe unto them that draw iniquity with cords of vanity, and sin as it were with a cart rope. 19, that say, let him make speed and hasten his work, that we may see it, and let the counsel of the Holy One of Israel draw nigh and come, that we may know it. See that verse 20, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. We think that this is only going on in our time. No, it was going on during this time. That's why he said he couldn't find any righteousness. But people was cross shouting. You know, people would act like they're righteous, but they're not righteous. That he was looking for judgment too. But what did he find? Oppression. So if you're oppressed, that means you know the truth, but you're withholding it for what? For lucre's sake, maybe, or just a control, or just certain control. These people were doing this in that time. Okay, so now, verse 21, woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight. See that? He's letting you know what is happening. 22, woe unto them that are mighty to drink wine. There it is. And men's strength to mingle strong drink. There is, I have to pause again. Where is that strong drink? It's strong. It's the doctrine. It's the strange doctrine, not the doctrine from God. It's causing everybody to become drunk. Verse 23, which justify the wicked for reward and take away the righteousness of the righteous from him. 24, therefore, as the fire devoureth the stubble, and the flame consumeth the chaff, so their root shall be as rottenness, and their blossom shall go up as dust, because they have cast away the law of the Lord of hosts and despised the word of the Holy One of Israel. So what's the key of that? They have cast away the law of the Lord of hosts and despised. See that? They despised it. 25, therefore is the anger of the Lord kindled against his people, and he hath stretched forth his hand against them, and have smitten them, and the hills did tremble. What did he call it? The hills did tremble. Okay, let me keep reading. And their carcasses were torn in the midst of the streets. For all this, his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. So he still got his hand stretched out. But what was he saying? He said, what in the middle, and he have stretched forth his hand against them, and have smitten them. And right here, and the hills did tremble. What hills? What is this hills? What are these hills? Hills represents what? The power, the ones that's in authority. Hills are high, right? Okay, so now that's a reference to speak. Remember hills as you keep reading the Bible. 26, and he will lift up an ensign to the nations from far, and will hiss unto them from the end of the earth, and behold, they shall come with speed swiftly. So what is hissing? What is hiss? Is it, you're hissing, trying to alert somebody to come to attention, to get, getting their attention. And what did it say at the beginning? And he will lift up an ensign. What is an ensign? Is it a sign? Is it some type of, reference of, sign, like just some type of, and matter of fact, let's look that up. Ensign definition. Ensign means a flag or standard, especially a military or naval one, indicating nationality. So he's lifting up that flag, which is, just, what do people do in war to say that they conquered your land? Okay, so now 26 say, and he will lift up an ensign to the nations from far. What is that, nations from far? Keep that in your memory banks. 27, none shall be weary nor stumble among them. None shall slumber nor sleep. Neither shall the girdle of their loins be loose, nor the latchet of their shoes be broken. 28, whose arrows are sharp, and all their bows bent. Their horses' hoofs shall be counted like flint, and their wheels like a whirlwind. So they're going to have wheels like a whirlwind. Think about in battle, you're having wheels, horses, the wheels. Think about, look at the description that he's given them before it even comes. 29, listen to this. Their roaring shall be like a lion. They shall roar like young lions. Yea, they shall roar and lay hold of the prey, and shall carry it away safe, and none shall deliver it. What does deliver it mean? To save it. Nobody's going to be able to save that. They're going to roar. What do armies do? Especially the army that was the military from Rome, the Roman Empire. If you have that long of existence of control, that means you had a serious force. You see what I'm saying? So now, verse 30, the last thing, and then this will be the end of part 1. And in that day, they shall roar against them like the roaring of the sea. And if one look unto the land, behold, darkness and sorrow, and the light is darkened in the heavens thereof. So now, these things are very hard to understand. It can go either way. But when he say light is darkened in the heavens thereof, when you deal with a certain nationality of people, could they be his heavens as well? You see what I'm saying? So now if the light is darkened, they're darkening that light. And now you have what? Another a nation of people. They're roaring, and it says against them like the roaring of the sea. See how he's using parables. So that was the first part of Abomination of Desolation. You have to I would say this, you have to get out the key parts of everything. You have to, like when we were at hills, you see roaring, you see certain wheels of whirlwind. There's certain things that he's making emphasis on. And we keep seeing abomination and desolate. He will cause the land to be desolate. Things like that. So I just want to give all praises to the Most High, all glory to God in the highest. Like I say, everybody's searching for the truth. We have to have patience and grace in our walk, because there's times where we might not see things, and we could be messing up. So that's where we have to be different from the lesson we learned today. We have to be different than from the people that was trying to get guidance from God, but they wouldn't turn. So this is our job. When we see things that are different, we have to turn from it, even if we thought that was it. That's what's going to make us different and make us better, and receive more grace when we're having grace to others as well. You know what I'm saying? So we have to also know that, we're not perfect, but we're striving for perfection. And when we're reading it, this book is about what? Correction, edification, reproof. So we have to use that and believe in that. If we're reproving us, then we have to be reproved and admit that. So with that, like I said, all glory be to God in the highest. You guys enjoy your Sabbath day, and blessings to each and every one of you.